Hello, everybody. Welcome back from lunch. Thank you very much, Brianna and Nathan. Wonderful event. Glad to be here with you. So I'm here starting first. The group said that they wanted this to get better as time went on, so I'm going first. And Melanie and I are board members at the Singularity Ecosystem Venture Fund. We also have several members of our ecosystem here with us, Barbara, Jared, and Stacey. So we're each going to take a few minutes and walk you through what we're doing at the Singularity Ecosystem Venture Fund. So we're going to talk about the future of AI and robotics. So we believe we have a drone's eye view of where this industry is. Because we're an ecosystem, we're very involved every day with AI and robots, two of which you see on the screen. You have Grace, the humanoid healthcare robot, and her sister, Sophia, the robot. Many of you are probably familiar with Sophia. She's one of the most famous humanoids in the world, spoke in front of the United Nations, been on The Tonight Show. And these are two of the companies that are in our ecosystem. So we're a Series A or later fund. We've been operating as an ecosystem for several years. We're global. And although all of us here are based in the US, we have team members around the globe. One other board member for us is Dr. Ben Goertzel. He also lives here in Seattle on Vashon Island, and he is known as the father of AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence. And many of you have become very familiar with that term. It's becoming more popular. AGI is human-level AI, human-level intelligence. And we are inspired by and affiliated with Singularity Net. And Singularity Net is one of the world's foremost decentralized AGI projects for the benefit of humankind. So we've dovetailed off that. We've built our ecosystem around that, and we're really dedicated to a beneficial AGI that serves humanity. So Sophia the robot is involved with that, as well as Grace. So a little bit about where we're going. Many of you are familiar with the changes that are ahead. Here's some stats just to reiterate. Some of you, this might be new. Starting in the upper left of the screen, the global AI market size in 2023 is about 500 billion, expanding to 2.5 trillion. So CAGR of 19% through 10 years from now. Great opportunity for us to all invest. Obviously, it's wide open. And we have to, as investors and so forth, make sure we pick the right companies that we're working with. $13.8 billion in a faster growing market is the predicted size of the humanoid robot market. And that's like Grace or Sophia that you saw earlier. So that's growing at a 50% CAGR between now and 2028. Fantastic opportunity. So we're very thrilled to be involved with some of the world's most famous humanoids, Grace and Sophia, with many of the robots in our pipeline as well. These two stats below are a little more shocking. McKinsey believes that up to 800 million people in the global workforce will need to be reskilled by 2030. And that there's 8 billion people on the planet. About 56% of all the people on the planet work. So that's significant. Out of 4 billion people, about 800 million are going to need to be reskilled. We're in for a really big cultural change. Many of us realize that. And in addition, 15.7 trillion in new productivity is expected to be added to the world by AI by 2030. Now, to give you a comparable, the global food market is about 11 trillion. So all the energy, all of the productivity around food is not as high as this change. So we're expecting big human changes across the globe. Now, we're in the midst of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. And, we've heard from our grandparents and our great-grandparents, there was the steam engine, there was electricity, there were computers in the 1970s. Now we're in the midst of this Industry 4.0, Industrial Revolution 4.0, where AI is rapidly changing our lives. We're seeing that. It's now. It's really the 2020s when this is happening. And now we're very connected to networks. IoT devices are in the billions, tens of billions to be predicted. And also we're connected. You must work with an ecosystem to be successful today. You can't do it all yourself. We saw in the keynote with Microsoft that they've opened up, obviously, OpenAI to many, many different types of businesses, and there's so much innovation happening on top of ChatGPT. So these ecosystems are very, very important. Now, what the future holds, and what you see and know from the dates is what used to take centuries to create fundamental change in humanity was taking decades. and now it's taking years. So Industry 5.0 is where AI and humans are expected to merge a lot more closer than they are today. There'll be mixed reality, and then the singularity. Many of you know Ray Kurzweil, who wrote The Singularity is Near. It's a seminal book in AI. He expected by as early as the 2030s, we may see singularity, or an AI that is as intelligent as a human. Today, we're in artificial narrow intelligence, then the artificial general intelligence, human level intelligence, and then finally artificial superintelligence. So a lot is happening, as we all know. It's important for us as investors to be mindful of that, because we've seen so much disruption. If 800 million people are going to have to be reskilled, that's like looking at a quarter of this room. This whole quarter of the room will need to be reskilled. Obviously not here, because I think there's many entrepreneurs, but as an example. So we believe in converging tech at SEVF. So if you take a look at, these are the areas of Industry 4.0 that are important. There may be a few others. So starting from the left to the right, XR, VR, metaverse, AI, robotics, IoT, additive manufacturing, cybersecurity, computing, blockchain, 5G. So what we do at SEVF is we work with these Series A or later companies, and we help them network together. Melanie's going to talk about that through our ecosystem. We're very active, and then we help them get to new markets. So if you take two of these in a vertical, if you took AI and IoT in automotive, then you get the driverless industry, which is $30 billion today. So AI is a fantastic industry. We saw OpenAI took an investment from Microsoft at an 828x multiple because they were at 30 million in revenue. Next year, they expect to be at $1 billion in revenue. Super duper fast. We believe these wide open areas of converging tech are blue oceans, and we're helping our companies that work with us come together to help with their marketing, their sales, and then get out to market faster. So this picture actually has a story behind it. I took my notes for the first part of this conversation a little bit later, and we had Stable Diffusion create this image. So about going from Industry 1 to Industry 4, and there was an iteration or two, but not many. And so I thought it was interesting that you have a human who seems to be in some kind of haptic suit or something like that, walking with the robot, what might be kids, but one of them looks to be a metaverse character, walking down a robot towards what could be a smart city. So this change, this rapid change with all the stats that we saw is going to be so important. And at SEVF, this is the opportunity we see. This is where we're partnering with. You're going to hear from some of our ecosystem companies today as well. So I'll actually hand off to you, Melanie, to talk more about that.
Thanks, Bill. Mm-hmm. So as Bill seems to, the phrase of the day seems to be, we need to operate in an ecosystem. Not only is an ecosystem valuable for all of the portfolio companies at SEVF, but also in terms of driving ROI for our LPs, which is really our main goal here, as well as getting to a beneficial AGI. The ecosystem requires a lot of manpower. There are different components aside just from the fund. We have Singularity Amplify that allows our portfolio companies to work together in a Congress-like atmosphere so that they can figure out how to do better business in the different global regions that they already operate in. As an example, Bill had mentioned earlier that we have partners in different parts of the world. So our executive management team, as well as our general partners, there are some that are stateside. We have Geneva, London, Dubai, Hong Kong, just to name some of the areas that we are focused on. In light of that, we are also part of a community where portfolio companies come to us from all those regions as well. We do have a very heavy focus in Asia and the Middle East, as really that some of the greatest technologies are coming out of those areas at this time. I'm going to pass it off to Barb, who will start talking about how we are working with other funds in order to expand the region and the profiles of what we're looking at in terms of AGI and AI.
Hello, I'm Barbara Bickham. I am the founder and managing partner of Trailin VC. We have a lot of the diverse deep tech founders. We concentrate on blockchain, AI, quantum computing, Internet of Things, and Web3 as experiences. So the thing that gets my portfolio companies excited is the fact that not only the ecosystem that we're creating amongst them inside of our fund, but the fact that they can potentially grow and scale out and join a bigger and a larger ecosystem, which helps them in two ways. One, their commercialization and revenue and business model validation, and two, their growth if they're at that phase. So that's very exciting for companies because getting customers is hard, generating revenues is hard, and creating these partnerships are hard for startups because they have a lot of things to do. So the beauty of having that connection between Trailin VC and the Singularity Ecosystem Fund is that the companies can really see the vision of potentially getting to where they want to go. We talked yesterday about like that 10-year vision. How do you see that far out? Well, creating these ecosystems amongst the early, the middle, the later stage companies is how we can have them envision getting an exit potentially. So I'm going to pass this off to Jared, and he can talk about Pure Tech.
Thank you. Jared, I'm the founder of Pure Technology, Inc. and marketing advisor with SEVF. So I'm going to do mine a little bit different. I'd like you to imagine technology transform to who you are. Between digital twins, avatars, AI assistants, and personalized smartphones. Essentially what we have is Siri-like avatars with specialized knowledge that are focused on just you. These type of avatars and assistants can be utilized to essentially unlock doors to what we'll call specific or generalized artificial intelligence, such as in, let's say, industries for travel or medical. If you're talking about medical, for the sake of this, you could think about Grace the robot, which was mentioned earlier. She's focused in that space. So with regards to that concept, effectively what you have is an unprecedented way of accessing information and expertise like never before. Next. Regarding securing your data, if I was to tell you that securing your data is an important thing, most people would probably have a vague understanding of that, but really, what does that even mean? Well, securing it from hackers for one, yeah, fair enough. But what about actually literally securing it yourself? As in you own, you leverage, and you monetize your data, your content, and even your identification. If you're able to do such a thing, you are now in total control of your data management. We have biometric secure smartphones that effectively enable that person to always be in control of everything tied to their personal brand. In this case, we'll call that your data, your content, your identification, etc. This allows us to do unique things like never before. And with regards to this, also enables it so that everything on the back end tied throughout this ecosystem can be guaranteed to be secure from the start all the way through to the finish. And I'll pass this on to Stacey.
All right. How many of you would like to be in two places at once? As a mom, definitely. In the Singularity Ecosystem Fund and the ecosystem companies, we are focused on bridging the gap between physical and virtual worlds. Through AI and avatars, we're able to essentially enable synchronous presence, and we get to solve major problems. So I'm going to highlight a few that we're focused on and have had traction this year. So job seeking and reskilling, educating the world, and engaging the next gen consumer, which we talked about that earlier today. Retail is changing. So let's go next slide. All right, as Bill, I don't think we want to play it yet. As Bill shared, 800 million people in the world are at risk of being redundant from AI and robotic automation. In nations like the US, a third of the workforce could need to be reskilled. Here comes Sophiaverse, Sophia AI Lab. So this idea of bridging virtual and physical, Sophia the robot has an AI lab. She is not just a physical robot, and she is not just a character in a game or multiple games. She has a space that you can go in the metaverse. We just launched this headquarters in Decentraland last month. And we have a small video, I think.
It might be static.
Okay, it's static. Well, just imagine walking in and essentially there's an AI lab. So people are able to code, learn how to code, interact with Sophia the robot. So the same robot that you meet at conferences, you can meet in the metaverse. It is launched in Decentraland, but we're going to be launching in Roblox and all the others. We can talk more about metaverse, but we're very excited about this innovation because the question is, how do we attach meaning to people skills so that they can be on this transformation? And how can Sophia and other avatars really help people? The Sophia AI Jobs is also a feature of Sophiaverse, and it's connecting personalized matching to AI jobs. And it's a great way that we're getting brands involved and also engaging people. Then, yeah.
Just to reiterate, because we're going to open up for questions, I leave about 5 to 6 minutes for that. Just to reiterate, what we're really excited about is bringing these companies together. So Sophia the robot's the world's most famous humanoid. Her AI and the AI of Singularity Net, which I mentioned earlier, it's a nonprofit foundation, we're bringing pervasively into some of these companies that are not as involved with AI or don't have that skill set. Furthermore, when we evaluate companies, we have a lot of financial expertise. Our fund manager out of Geneva is experienced with raising and then running multi-billion-dollar funds. But we also have some of the world's greatest AI scientists, again, Dr. Ben Goertzel being the lead, a whole team of doctors, but Dr. Goertzel literally wrote the first book on artificial general intelligence, and some of you know who he is because he's a Seattle resident. So allowing us to bring this ecosystem together to provide innovation, but also we work, and Melanie, you mentioned this yesterday, we work with so many scientists that are brilliant, and great people, but they don't know how to market. So we help them get their ideas to market, sometimes through opportunities like this, as with Stacey and the company that she's running, Twin Protocol. We're able to leverage metaverse assets that give them new spectrums. We're holding, Stacey's also helping with the AI World's Fair in Decentraland, where we'll feature a lot of these companies. So this ecosystem approach, first of all, with Web3, with Industry 4, we feel is necessary to stay ahead of all the disruptive innovation that we're going to experience. So anything else to add?
I think I'm good. I think we want to leave it, because we want to leave it up for questions. Yeah, we have 7 minutes for questions.
Yeah, well, we're going to go into other areas. So AI job and reskilling.
Sorry.
No, it's great. I actually think that we should make it panel-like because I want to hear their perspective.
No, that's good. That's good.
So educating the world. Global education is lagging. The UN's initiative for educating the world is 50 years behind. We do believe avatars will democratize education. In schools, imagine just being on a city bus or in a remote village. You should and could have access to the best educators in the world. We are doing tests with avatars in our ecosystem, and a medical school with students using avatar tutors are performing 10% higher on tests. Think about that personalized touch of when you really can't think through the problem and you might feel a little nervous in an environment to even say it. You say it with an avatar. So this is not only limited to formal education. So digital twins, everyone has education to share. And we are replicating, and I know this is when people get freaked out, Brianna, when it's like digital twins, what's happening? We believe that you should own your twin based on the sovereignty of data, based on the discussion here. We believe that you should upload information, be able to monetize, learn from other people. Think about all the brilliance just in this room if we had a digital twin of the room. Any thoughts on educating the world?
I would just state that as companies like Twin Protocol, which Stacey's the CEO of, develop these products, we have our ecosystem. When we just release a press release or we talk to other founders, they're like, I want that. Yeah. Because so many of the companies need this to educate their own constituents. So again, this ecosystem approach that we're taking, this global approach as well, because the twins there are obviously multilingual and so forth. So it's really exciting.
I think there's also not just digital twins, physical. We've got some of the portfolio companies in our fund that are digital twins for electrical programs. So for smart cities. So that's really important for that as well.
Yes, IoT is definitely a category. We're focused on celebrities, experts, everyone wants those. Yeah. And we're also focused on knowledge retention. So think about all of you or just the growth pains of running a business. We all know that. And especially if it's lean and mean, you really lose a lot when one person leaves. So this idea of creating a digital twin of your employees so that they can train other people, and you can even potentially negotiate how that license works with your digital twin is just, that's very, very hot, and how we closed our seed. So that's very exciting to us. And I'll move to the next.
Oh,
So-
I think we're gonna. Sorry, Stace. We need to do question period.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 second.
Okay.
We're very timely here. Engaging next gen consumers. So by 2030, Gen Z and millennials will make up 48% of global retail spend. We talked about retail earlier. What we didn't talk about as much is that they expect a 24/7 online experience, and they expect it to be personalized. So we're very excited about the innovations with bridging retail brick and mortar with the virtual world. This is probably the most tested in a lot of industry. It's very exciting to share this. For those of you who didn't see it, we actually used a Pacific Northwest. We're able to partner with a Pacific Northwest brand, a beloved brand, Ben Bridge Jewelers. We had an avatar of the CEO, Lisa Bridge. We launched their first ever virtual metaverse store. And because of the gamification, because it was so compelling, people visited over and over again. That just doesn't happen in brick and mortar usually. Maybe if you live on top of the building. So that's very, very exciting. And because of the experience and because of the mix of AI avatars, we were able to, the graph shows, we were able to really engage at such a higher level and get results compared to giants like DKNY, Coach, and Adidas. So that's a very exciting piece of this conversation around the physical and virtual worlds.
Whether it's the phone, whether it's the metaverse, the twin, EDU for education, whatever the case may be, we're also able through this ecosystem to have the end user opt in to provide their training data, often stored in the blockchain, to get us to artificial general intelligence. So we're really bringing this ecosystem together, and it culminates with the data we're able to collect from the users, which they opt into.